Hello, Abigail here with the tarot energy readings for the fire signs. There'll be one for each fire sign, one for Aries, one for Leo, one for Sagittarius. This is for Aquarius season, and I hope you all enjoy. Hello, my Aries folks. This is your reading for Aquarius season, Aries sun, moon, and rising. And this season, we have Pluto involved. We're starting a new eclipse cycle. So just know that there's a lot of really deep, rich energy. And I will have the astrology video linked below. But starting off, your card, your archetype card, is the desert. You are going on some journey on your own. But at the same time, I think you're also going to be discovering the gifts of the desert. We often see the desert as these barren wastelands, and yeah, in a human sense, they are. But in reality, they are teeming with life. It's just unique to the place in which you are. And so I think you are discovering the magic of where you have been placed, the magic of where you are existing, and you are on a journey and a path to that existence, to that place, and you are finding the magic of a place that might appear barren but isn't. And the cards that you've gotten are honestly very abundant and rich. And so I think this is about learning the magic of you, learning the power of you. When I think of a desert, two elements kind of come to mind, which is like fire and air. That's kind of the heat of the sun and the winds that are ever shifting the landscape. And so, as a fire sign, this is about you embracing the heat of who you are and the magic of who you are. And there's also a sacredness to this energy, to this magic, to the divinity of who you are. And it feels very much us, experiencing Saturn and Neptune going into Aries. That happens in this season. And so there's a profound spiritual experience waiting for you here, and also a profound and renewed connection to self in this moment. And it really comes out in the cards. We have the Nine of Cups. You are getting something special. I love that this is a snake shedding its skin. There is a new iteration of you being born. It is rich and abundant, and it is connecting to your unique gifts and talents in a new way. You are seeing the possibility of who you are and how you can build that with the power of Saturn. And yeah, it can be a dismantling energy, but it feels as though you are ready for this dismantling, for this shedding, in order to build something that is more true and unique to you. And so, this is a time to recognize your own abundance, to see the magic that you bring into the world, and to be like, hey, this is how I want to live my life, knowing who I am and what I deserve. We also have the Queen of Cups here. You are really digging deep and connecting to your desires and your emotions and the flow of who you are, very much, that desert card. You're moving through, and you are existing in a really magical place now. You get to really um, dive deeper into how you specifically move and how you can specifically accommodate who you are and what you need. This season is about getting to know yourself, and we get to know ourselves when we are in places like the desert, where there is intensity and there is a rawness and a bareness that allows us to see ourselves as a pared down version. I think what you're going to find in the pared down version is there's so much magic and beauty in who you are and what you can do and will do. And then we have our Nine of Coins. This is actually going to be a nice and abundant little month for you, or rather season. There's a gift in here. There is an ability to harness your talents in order to make some cash, which I think we're all happy to hear. So get out there, start putting yourself out forward, start promoting yourself, start telling the world who you are, and believing in the power of who you are. We also finally have this Page of Cups. You have to be spontaneous, and you have to be trusting. This Page of Cups is about the kind of a youthful belief in something. You need to believe in you. You need to have the belief that you had in yourself when you were really little. Sometimes that is stripped away from us by society and people in our lives, but you have always had a sense of who you are. And now is the time to reconnect to that and believe in that almost blindly. And if you do, you get this. So do that. Believe in yourself. Be fully connected to your desires. Be ridiculous in the appreciation of the magic of who you are. And this season, this deepening connection is really going to set you up well for the next zodiacal year when we hit the spring equinox in the middle of March. Anyways, my Aries, that is my reading for you, and I will see you all later. Hello, my Leos. This is your reading for Aquarius season, Leo sun, moon, and rising, or if you have stellium. But yeah, this season is a lot. It's also your opposing season, so it has an extra influence on you. So just keep that in mind as we go through the reading. If you are interested in the astrology, you can check out the video linked below. There will be a video for the astrology of Aquarius season. So just so you know. Anyways, getting into your cards, we start off with your archetype card, which is the Hunter, which I really love because we're not quite there yet, but the zodiacal year in the Chinese zodiac is the year of the horse. And that starts on February 17th with the first eclipse. And so I really love this image for you, this image of a horse, all the things it represents, courage, fearlessness, sensitivity, the ability to be communal. Horses move in herds. They are not lone creatures. They do not do well on their own, even if when they are on their own, they really benefit from companionship. And so I find this interesting that in this card, it's the hunter, which we often associate with, not prey animals, which a horse is. You can kind of tell by the fact that they have their eyes on the side of their heads. But in this season, you are seeking something. You are hunting for something. You are digging for some truth or understanding. You are pursuing it with all of your senses. You are using everything that you have at your disposal. You are sinking deep into the energy, and you're really relying on your intuition and your body rather than logic or what others might perceive as right or intelligent. This is about you coming home to yourself and honing your unique skill sets and really paying attention and listening to your body, to your senses, to your intuition to make the right choices in this season. I will say, especially with the eclipses, a lot of the choices that we will be making are going to be more reactionary, which is very horse coded. Are going to be reactionary. Horses tend to be more defensive than offensive. So just know that you're not being asked to make any huge, freestanding decisions. You will have decisions to make within the circumstances. And it'll be more of a choice that you don't have many choices with than a massive opportunity coming your way. Just so you know, it's more about learning to react to your environment in a kind of concise and healthy way rather than you taking the lead, which is a very kind of Leo-esque trait. So this is you kind of honing that shadow self a little bit, which very kind of shows up in the coloring and the symbolism in this card. So I don't think there's a whole lot of external progress, I would guess. It's really about who you are inside and what needs to come forward in 2026 and what you need to be focusing on and doing, because you start off here with our Five of Swords, a reminder. So firstly, we have the Chinese New Year on the 17th of February, which is right before we go into Pisces season. And also, we're not even into the zodiacal year yet, which will start with the spring equinox in the middle of March. So we are still wrapping up, finishing up, closing out energetic themes. Even though we've moved into 2026, it's not done yet. And so you need to be culling your friend groups. You need to be removing periphery people and personal people who are just not celebrating you, who are just not here for you, and also recognizing that will also be happening to you. People are going to be really tightening their groups in the season and trying to figure out who is safe and who is a part of this new phase of their life. This is also a card of what is the consequence of a certain conflict? And it's less about, oh, I shouldn't engage in conflict, and more of like, which conflicts are worth my time and energy? Which conflicts should I engage in? If it's something petty and does not require your involvement, maybe opt out. This is a season where you need to be focusing your energy on what you need to be doing and how you are responding and how you can help your community rather than, the petty drama that can so often kind of come out of relational things. And if you think about the archetypes of Leo and Aquarius, Leo is the self and Aquarius is the other. And so in this season is very much you in, juxtaposition to the other and trying to find your place within it and to maintain community while also staying true to yourself and, accepting your limitations and boundaries. And then we have this lovely Ace of Swords. This is the beginning of something, but it's not the end. And so you just need to be locked in and aware of, the things that you were planning and starting. Also, I feel like the eclipses are going to begin a lot of stuff. Also, remembering that the South Node is going to be entering Leo in July, and this eclipse is on that axis. And so all of your planets in Leo and in Aquarius, depending on if you have those two, are going to be getting the nodal treatment. And you really need to realize that this is a big upheaval, especially in fixed signs. And this is the beginning. So now is the time to start setting those intentions. Now is the time, very King of Swords, to start connecting with yourself and to start really being like, no, this is what I want. No, I'm not going to accept that because I know that I want this and there will not be space if I accept this thing. I'm feeling for some of you, it's very much like relationship stuff. Maybe some of you have situationships or just people who are kind of placeholders in your life and they know that and that's how they participate. Now is the time to cut those cords if you want someone who is more permanent and longer lasting, whether it be romantic or friendship or even family groups, just people who aren't here for the longer haul. You need to start clearing space for people who are. And this doesn't mean to abandon your community or to cut everyone off, but you need to be prioritizing the people who show up for you. And you need to be recognizing that if you're not doing that for others, that is something that's also going to be happening to you. But now is the time to kind of stand on your ethics and beliefs and morals and your desires and how they play out in your life, and how you want to participate in community and in groups rather than just kind of going with whatever has been happening. You need to take a bit more of a leadership role. Then we have the Hierophant. There's a lot to learn in this season. So become a student. It may be frustrating because you're like, I've already been here. Fun fact, a lot of the planets are, on their way to new signs. In Aquarius season, we will be seeing that shift between Neptune and Saturn going into a fresh sign. And so that's super exciting, but we are still needing to learn and to process and to engage. So in this season, learn as much as you can, be a sponge. Know that the stuff that you're learning now is preparation for what you have later. And as you hunt for knowledge, as you hunt for insight and for friendship, remember to stay true to yourself, to listen to your instincts when it comes to these things, because that's going to be your best guide in what is going to be a pretty chaotic season. All right, my loves, this is my reading for you for Aquarius season. I hope that you get everything you want out of it and more. I will see you later. Hello, my Sagittarians. This is your reading for Aquarius season. Sagittarius sun, moon, and rising. This season is intense. You can check out the astrology reading linked below for this season. But we have the eclipses. There's a lot of big astrology. So just know this season is a bit extra. It's a lot. But let's get into our archetype. Your archetype is the ocean. And I really love this. Part of it to me feels very much like your ruler, Jupiter, being in Cancer and having that oceanic vibe. You're in a time of expansion and transformation and kind of pushing the edges of your capabilities and your skills and finding new skill sets and places where you belong. But you belong in the sense of your full and true self versus just little bits and pieces of you, which I find can be a Sagittarius thing where people want to kind of carve you up into little bits and pieces. But you deserve to be present as your whole self. And this season is very much about you claiming that, about you engaging in it, about you going deeper into who you are and into what you want. This is also the time to break free from any limiting beliefs you have about yourself. Any belief that, you can't do something or something's impossible, depending on where you are age-wise, like you may have, 20, 30, 40, 50, even 60 years possibly in front of you. Don't limit yourself to societal benchmarks, to what other people have told you, to the failures of other people that they want to put on you. This is the time to sink into the ocean of who you are and believe that you are endless and you have so much possibility and life and vitality and so much to offer that you need to step out and believe on that and allow the universe to show you the way forward through these eclipses. We, starting off, have a very lovely Seven of Cups. This is about possibility. There's a limitless amount of options in this season, and what you pick is going to say a lot about who you are. And when I come up against choices, I think there's a lot of in society like fear of making the wrong choice. There isn't a wrong choice, but there is a choice that might be better for you. So really be listening to what you want and how you want to proceed and looking at the options, not just from a like what you can gain in the moment, but from where you can see yourself heading in the next 5-10 years. These obviously don't have to be set in stone, but you should be making commitments based on kind of a bit of longevity, especially since, we only get Jupiter and its exalted placement every 12 years. And we're going to be going into Leo in the middle of 2026. So this is very much the time for you to fully embrace this exalted energy and be like, oh, I have limitless possibilities. And also, you can pursue something and then change your path middle of your life. No problem. And I think some of you will. And so in this season, it's about loosening those societal restraints and recognizing that you are on your unique journey and deserve to have a unique experience. We do have our friend, the Three of Swords. There is a lot of, stories about wounding. Makes me wonder where Virgo and Pisces are in your chart, which would be the square to your sign. I also deeply wonder where, Aquarius and Leo are in your chart. That's a really, going to be pivotal in the next 18 months as we go through this new eclipse cycle. And really focusing on the themes from there and the ways in which we've been wounded. I also encourage you to look at where your Chiron placement is to see where that specific wounding is. And something I've kind of been feeling and looking into and kind of experiencing through the lens of Chiron is realizing that Chiron is not where we can heal ourselves, because it is the wounded healer. It is in a place of impossible healing from a personal standpoint. You cannot fix it. But, who are your Chiron people? The people who come in and who heal and care for the wounds that we cannot care for ourselves. And I think that's an important piece to recognize, that you need other people to come in and care for you. Also, Chiron is a centaur. Your symbol is a centaur. This is about that duality and that ability to be both creature and human at the same time. And I think it's time to kind of recognize your fallibility, not as something harmful and bad and a mistake, but as something that makes you uniquely you. All of us are fallible in some way, and it makes us very unique in ourselves, and it's not a bad thing. It's just who we are. And then we have our King of Cups, which I find interesting because these two figures, I'm going to pull these two cards together, these two figures kind of feel related. We have the Four of Cups and the King of Cups. There is going to be a desire to disassociate because there is going to be too much coming over the plate at you in this season. And I encourage you to simply be thoughtful about your disassociation. Choose to do it intentionally, because firstly, you'll get the most bang for your buck. Secondly, we all need an escape. And thirdly, if you do it that way, then there is a way in which to incorporate it healthily and not to harm our other relationships and situations that we're in. Also with the king over here and these kind of two bold male figures, it is time to really take ownership of our feelings, take ownership of our responses to things, not in a punishing way, but in a way where we're like, yeah, I reacted this way because of this trauma. I reacted this way because I am overwhelmed with options. Rather than lashing out at ourselves, at others, taking this season to really learn regulation. And, regulation is not calm, it is not peace. It is the ability to flow and to have cycles and to not get stuck in one place, which is very oceanic, by the way. And so in this season, I think the big message for you guys is to allow yourself to feel your feelings while also taking accountability for them. And then using that power, that ability to understand yourself and that ability to be connected, and also recognizing when you can take a break to enrich your life and to find some deep magic in Aquarius season, rather than, getting completely overwhelmed by what is going to be happening, because it is going to be a lot, folks. Then this is not to fearmonger. This is just just how it is. But remember that the ocean lives in cycles and flows and has different parts and pieces and creatures that exist in it, and that is very similar to being a human. So allow yourself to be diverse. Allow yourself to have your moods and your shifts and your changes while recognizing the purpose of those things. Anyways, my loves, that is my reading for Aquarius season. No, it's not like very material and practical, but it is very personal. And I think there's a lot of beauty and richness that you guys are going to find in this season. And that is my reading for you for Aquarius season. And I hope it is a blessed one.